In the heart of the bustling city, nestled between towering skyscrapers, stood an old apartment building, its weathered facade concealing untold secrets within its walls. The setting sun cast long, eerie shadows across the dimly lit street, amplifying the ominous aura that surrounded the building. Sarah, a young professional in her late 20s, had recently moved into the apartment on the 5th floor. Excitement had initially filled her heart at the prospect of living in the heart of the city, but that enthusiasm soon dissolved into a chilling sense of unease. As she settled into her new home, peculiar occurrences began to unfold. Odd whispers echoed through the empty hallways when she was alone, and shadows danced in the corners of her vision, disappearing when she turned to look. Sarah brushed these off as figments of an overactive imagination, attributing them to the stress of her new surroundings. Yet the inexplicable events persisted. One night, as Sarah prepared for bed, a sudden draft swept through her room, causing the candle flames to flicker wildly. An icy chill crept down her spine as she caught sight of a figure standing in the hallway, a silhouette that vanished the moment she blinked. Uneasy and unnerved, Sarah's nights became restless. The creaks and groans of the old building took on a haunting symphony, amplifying her anxiety with each passing hour. She felt as though she was being watched, an unsettling sensation that lingered even in the silence of her apartment. Desperate for answers, Sarah sought solace in her neighbors. However, their responses were evasive, and their eyes held a glint of fear that sent shivers down her spine. No one dared to speak openly about the building's dark history, leaving Sarah isolated in her growing terror. One stormy night, the electricity faltered, plunging the building into darkness. Sarah, clutching a flashlight, navigated through the inky blackness toward the circuit breaker. As she fumbled with the switches, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence, echoing through the hallways. Heart-pounding, Sarah dashed toward the sound, the beam of her flashlight illuminating the corridor. The scream had originated from the apartment next door, where a new family had moved in just days ago. Dread filled her as she reached for the doorknob, finding it ominously unlocked. Pushing the door open, she was greeted by a scene straight from a nightmare. Furniture was overturned, belongings scattered, and crimson streaks adorned the walls. Panic clawed at her chest as she frantically searched for any sign of the family. But there was nothing. No trace remained of their presence. A sinister realization dawned upon her. She wasn't alone in this horror. The building held secrets darker than she could have ever imagined, and the malevolent forces within seemed to have chosen her as their next victim. With trembling hands, Sarah realized her battle for survival had only just begun in this macabre labyrinth of her apartment building.